Okay, I'm going to start recording to install Stellarium, the new update. The other night I had installed it a couple of days ago, and the other night I kept having Stellarium close down on me, which had never done before. So I've updated my computer and I'm going to go to the site, download version 1 again for a 64-bit computer, and you can scroll down here and you can go to all releases and get other releases that are prior to the version 1. And I did that, but I also had an executable file on my hard drive from a previous version. So we're going to try this again. Download it. It's going to take a while to download. We'll see if it works. I've already turned on my telescope and my astronomy camera and my guider, and I'll plug those in after we get Stellarium installed. I may speed this up. Well, I will speed it up. Okay, it has finished downloading, and I will show you the page for all releases while we're here. Norton is telling me it's a good file. Here's version 1, the one I just downloaded. And you scroll down, you can see other versions starting there. And you can keep scrolling and you can pick them and download them. So that is one way to get older versions. What I did was, since version 1 was crashing on me, I uninstalled it and reinstalled the older version, but it kept coming up that it was version 1. So I had to go back and take out all the folders that said Stellarium on them, dealing with the program, to make it quit that. So we'll see what happens now. I'm going to install the version 1 again and try it with my telescope here in the house to see if it's going to do what it did to me the other night after I updated my computer. Okay. You can go to the help menu and you click on about, and you see that it says version 122.3, and you can click on check for updates. We know we already got the update. Now to get to this window screen like this, you can hit, I think it's F11 like that, and you can take away the other stuff, and I'm going to hit F11 because I like it to come up and show the little minimize thing here. And what happened was, every time I hit the minimize thing, it would all of a sudden just shut down and disconnect from my telescope. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close it, and you can close it with, well, where is the, there it is. You can close right here too. So I'm going to close it there. And it probably was not showing that up because of the catch screen. So I'm going to close this video and I'm going to restart the computer. Okay, we are back, and we're going to start Stellarium. Okay, we're back to the main screen. I'm going to minimize Stellarium, and I'm going to minimize my recording thing. Now, I'm going to plug in my USB hub to my computer, which will have all my astronomy gear plugged into it. I'm going to run ASCOM diagnostics. Say yes. And I'm going to go choose device, connect to device. I'm going to do this to connect to my telescope, which is a Skywatcher. And we'll say properties. Okay, it's probably not all right. All right. So it found it's on COM 11. And we'll say OK. OK. And we'll say connect. So we're going to close that. Go exit. And what I should have done first was find which COM port it's on. You would type in device manager. Click on it. After you've connected your equipment and you hear that beep, you come down here to the COM ports and see which COM port you're on. So now we're going to let's open up NINA. Now in NINA you can set up your profiles, and this is my home profile with the Skywatcher. The telescope is a DS114, and my ZWO camera, and I'm using a hand controller. I'll say load profile. And now it says if you want to, in your profiles, you can set them up different profiles. And I do this for different sites and different telescopes. So go back to equipment, and I'm going to turn on my camera. I'm going to have to cool the camera. It's a 294 ZWO. Telescope is the Skywatcher, and you can come here and pick any other telescope. So we're on that, and it's already configured ASCOM, so it's going to be fine. Now, this is important. If you want to do automatic meridian flips, I have found out that I've got to tell my telescope in NINA to use from NINA to the telescope the site, not from telescope to NINA. So click that. It says connected. All right, I haven't turned on PhD, so you got to go and turn that on before you try to connect. And in PhD, I have several profiles also in here. So it is the Skywatcher telescope with a 50 millimeter guide scope, and the ASCOM, you set that up by here. It says it's already connected because it knows it is, and then you just say connect all. Open up the window, and you see that it's gone, and it's going to, and you can start looping. I like to go to the view, and I like to do the bullseye, and I just say, now I have a black cap over my guide camera, so it's not going to show any stars or anything. So I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to go back to options. Here is where you put in your latitude and longitude of your site in your profile that you're using. It's important that you only use 3 digits after the decimal for degrees. In your hand controller and in PhD and in Stellarium, your coordinates are in degrees, seconds, minutes, and seconds. So I don't know what the issue is, but when you put it in minutes and seconds and you tell NINA to import from the telescope hand controller, it won't do a meridian flip, at least with a Skywatcher. So when you set up your profiles, no more than 3 digits, and you can convert from minutes and seconds to degree digits with some other type software. All right, we're going to minimize that. Now, let's start with Stellarium. Camera reach specified. Oh, wait a minute. My camera not plugged in? Ah, that's why that error came up. I don't have my ZWO electrically plugged in to the cooling mechanism. All right, let's go back to NINA. And we're going back to camera, equipment, camera. And we're going to tell it to cool. Now it ought to start cooling. No problem. Yeah, let's see. Go back to Stellarium. All right. Now what happened in Stellarium with this version 1 previously, when I was tracking or whatever, I would hit this little minus icon to minimize, and the whole program would just disconnect from my telescope. It's not connected right now, but we're fixing to do that. So let's see. What you can do here is, here again, that F11. All right, little telescope icon down here. Can't barely see it. Let's up it. All right, let's see. There it is. You can do it here for connection, or you can go into your configuration window. All right, configure telescope. And I already set up a couple of these profiles, because you can set a new one up, like clicking on this, and then your tools. And so I have an LX, Mead LX, and I have this Smith's catch grain. So we're going to say, let's see what that says. We're going to ASCOM. I gave it a name. It wants J2000. Choose telescope, ASCOM telescope, and I'm going to choose a Skywatcher. You can open it up and see others. And I can click on properties. It comes up that it's already connected. That's good. We can say OK. And that's all done. You say OK. OK. Close the window. And then you click connect. And it's connected. I'm going to close that window. Now I'm going to leave this part of the window open, because this is your syncing system. I am on that star, and you can see that I'm really on it. But if I was off, what you could do is, say you slew to an object and it was not on that object exactly, and your camera was showing you were. You would click on the object that you are on, and you'd say current object, and then you would hit sync. And what happens, it moves this target icon exactly on your target that you sync to. Now, I don't use Stellarium that much at all to slew the telescope, because NINA will plate solve and be more accurate. I basically use Stellarium to find me an object, and I'll import that object into NINA to set up a sequence. Now, these items up here are your optics and little toolbar, oculars. You can enter in your eyepieces, your lenses, your sensors, and your telescope. Now the telescope, you can see there are several, and these are my camera lenses. You have to indicate those as telescopes. And right now we have the DS4, which the parameters are in there. Sensors are your cameras, and you have to enter in all your parameters in that. Lenses, they came with a whole bunch of lenses. I had to delete all of them No, I'm sorry. The lenses, this is what they came with. If you got any new lenses, if you have another type of reducer that you need to put in, which I probably need to do because I do have a Meade 6.3 when this item right here may not be exactly the specs for my Meade. Eyepieces. Eyepieces came with a whole bunch of eyepieces, but none of them hardly were Meade. So I had to pretty much eliminate all of them and put in new ones. So what you can do here is when you enter in all your equipment and you want to see what it looks like frame wise, you can frame your object. So let's say we wanted to frame that, and that's a pinwheel, and we want to frame it. So here we come up, and it's in the ZWO 294. It looks like that with the DS 114 telescope. That would be the frame. And of course, the orientation may not be right, but you can change that by clicking these items here. And you can move in 15 degrees, 5 degrees, 1 degrees, positions. So, excuse me, I think I need some water. So we can cut that off. And we'll zoom out, and we'll see if the telescope will zoom to that. So we got the object selected. On this one, if we want the telescope to control by Stellarium, you can hit current object and slew. And my telescope is slewing to that object. And it'll move the little bullet icon to it. Okay. So now we got that there and that there. So say I want to go to my other program, which I don't see down here in the bar. I'm going to hit F11 to bring up my other programs. Now you can click on when you got them down here in the bottom bar, you can click on them to bring them in front. And you can see what NINA had. You got an imaging window over here, which I'm not taking any pictures. So that's showing that. And your guide camera, if I had the guide camera going, it would show down here. And you can click on this icon for PhD to bring up PhD. And it's, like I said, it's not running. Now, what the problem was the other night was when I had NINA up and I minimized it, it would disconnect. So let's see if it did that now that I've updated my computer. Nope, it's still there. Don't hit that, hit that. So now it minimized. So I mean, you can bring it back up. Let's see, bring that up. Did it shut me down? Did it do it again? Yep. Stellarium. I don't know why it's doing that, but it did it again when I hit minimize. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is, if I want to use version 1, I just can't click on the minimize button. All right, we're going to go back here and let's go up here to your location window. If you got your sites, you can add your sites, and you would, like I said, in here you would do your northwest, your coordinates, and you would put in your sites. And every time you go to a different site, you want to bring up the site. Like my club has a site, and the observing field, and I click on that, and then I can close the location because it's gone there. Now I also have And the landscapes, I've made landscapes for the field and my home. So that's the observing field, and that would be the sky that we have available to us around the trees. So now another way you can put in coordinates, and I'm going to let's see, I'm going to minimize that. It's probably going to disconnect, but is with Google Earth, and I don't use EQ mod, I use just the hand controller. If I have Google Earth, I don't see it. You bring up Google Earth, and you can go to a site to get its latitude and longitude, and it may have a setting on it that would convert it to decimals. That's all for now on this one. That shows me I'm going to have to disconnect again, Stellarium. Okay, this is going to be take 2. So we're going to start. Okay, we're going to try this again. Now I have uninstalled the Stellarium version 1.22.3 and installed another version that was prior to that one, and I had to remove all the old folders that were with said Stellarium. So even though this one says 1, when it opens, you go to help, about, and it says it's version 0.22.3. So that's good. Now I don't see the little icon for connect telescope. Don't know what happened to that, but we can go to configure the scope. Before we do that, let's minimize it. It looks like it's still there, didn't close out. Let's go to ASCOM. Yes. Connect its telescope. Choose. I want Skywatcher, telescope, properties. COM 11. Okay. Connect. And close that. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. I want to close that. Exit that. Where's my little icon? Maybe it doesn't come up unless I'm COM 411. All right, let's open up PhD. There it comes. Okay, so we're all connected. Let's open up NINA. Profile, That's what profile we want. Turn on the camera. Start cooling it. Telescope. Sky watcher. Okay. Guider. And we're all connected there. So bring up Stellarium. Configuration window. I don't understand why the little icon's not down here. We go it another way. Plugins. Telescope control. Maybe it's the remote control, not. It's always been telescope control. Okay. All right. Save settings. Maybe I need to close it. Okay, we're going to try this again. I had to uninstall a previous version of Stellarium. I think it was 0.22.3. And then I installed version 0.22.2. And we'll see if I get a disconnect this time. Okay, the telescope mount's connected. And we'll open up PhD. This is the order I do things when I'm out in the field. Like I said, there's no picture. I've got the camera covered. Let's try NINA. That's the profile I want. Connect the camera. Connect the telescope. Connect the guider. Minimize that. Let's open up Stellarium. I'm going to put this icon above that one. Okay. I've already configured the Skywatcher mount, got it working, so I'm going to connect. And it says it's connected, so I can close this window. And if it's connected, it should be, there it is right there. And that's where this telescope is currently showing. Now, we'll see if it's a slew. Let's click on the star. Click current object until it's a slew. And the telescope is slewing to that object. So that works. Now the problem has been if I minimize, it disconnects. But I did notice before I go do that, that if you go with the oculars, that the little arrows are gone that would allow you to switch between these. So if I wanted to bring up the another camera system and telescope, or yeah, I have to go into tools, because if you click on that, it doesn't do any good. But the tools is wrench is there. So go to telescopes, and let's click on the, but I got to double click to get it to work. And then we go to the sensors, and I want to use the ZWO. I got to double click again, and you can see that all that shows up over here. Whereas they had little arrows that you could just scroll through them before. I don't know why that's gone. It used to be there all the time. So now that's the picture would be. If I zoom out again and say I want to go to another object, let's say I want to go to the Iris Nebula, and just click on it, and you hit the space bar to center it in the frame. Now you can zoom in by scrolling your mouse. Just say current object and say slew. You know, it's slewing. The telescope is slewing like it's supposed to. Like I said before, I don't use Stellarium to slew to the telescopes. I use NINA because NINA does a plate solving. But if NINA goes to the item and is on it, but Stellarium is not, you can, Stellarium's icon for the telescope will probably be near the object. So you can click on the object that it's near, click on current object, and then click on sync, and the icon will move to it. Now, let's see if it's going to shut down. Let's say I go to NINA, and I go to imaging. Of course, I don't have anything imaging. And I go back to Stellarium and click on it, and say that, well, you know, instead of clicking on either PhD or whatever, you know, because you can bring up, instead of minimizing, you can just click on the one you want to see. But normally you can also minimize, and it doesn't shut off. I can minimize that, and then I'm on Stellarium. But let's see, if I minimize Stellarium, did it quit? Well, let's see. This version appears to be okay. And it's version 0.22.2. Like I said, 0.22.3 crashed out on me when I did the minimize. And it also didn't have the little arrows. This version did not crash out. Version 1.22 point something that was the current update, it stopped working when you hit minimize. So I don't know what the problem is with Stellarium right now, but this seems to work. I'm going to minimize it again. I'm going to close this. I'm going to minimize it again. And see, it's still there with me. And you could look at your guiding, you know, and all that, and on your location, and you want to be sure that you're on the location that you want. And to get your location, you just type in what you either search for it or start typing it in. I've got several sites in, like my Astronomy Club's field in the dome. I can click on that and it'll change a little bit down in here in the coordinates because I've already entered all that in. So we go back to Flowwood. Well, here we go. I guess I have to. And now it's back at the location. Of course, I already had saved all my landscape, so I have all that. And in the oculars up here, click on the tool window. You can see I've got a couple of telescopes or sensors in, and we've got some telescopes and camera lenses. My eyepieces, I got those in. So, and I got my configuration of the colors I want and all that. I fixed. I changed the colors of my compass points. Like I said, I had it on another computer. The other computer doesn't connect up to the telescope. I just use it as to see what I want to image while, instead of staying outside looking at the laptop. So everything seems to be working, but I do not know why the little arrows aren't here and why it's so far over there. I mean, I hit F11 and I can take it out of that mode, but still this piece over here is too far over. Okay, well, F11 again, they bring up a minimize on program. So that's pretty much it. I don't know why the other two versions conk out on me, but they do. Okay, I'm back again, and I have NINA running, and my hand controller running, and PhD running, and Stellarium running. And I can minimize Stellarium doing that away, and it doesn't shut it down. So that's pretty good. Now, a little trick I need to show you in Stellarium is, in order to get it to communicate and import coordinates into NINA, you have to go into the configuration, and you have to go to plugins, and you go to remote control. You turn on load at startup, and you do configure, and you check these two items right here, and you click save settings, and you close that window. Well, you could do that, or go back to the main and do save settings there too. Close that window, and you close down Stellarium, and you start it back up again. So I'm going to clear that out and clear that, and we're going to close it. So now I don't have Stellarium running, but we can always get it back by bringing it up to run. All right, it's open. So you can go to configure over here and pick up your configuration for your setting. Evidently location is, well, it's on the right location. All right, so configure, and we're going to do connect, because I've already configured it in here. It says it's connected. Now, that's where the telescope is currently pointing. Now, if I wanted to go to, say, M3 and want to import those coordinates into NINA, you just click on M3, go to NINA, go to framing, and do import. M3 shows it right there. And since I don't have the camera in its daytime, I'll just say slew, and my telescope is slewing to M3. And you can see the icon in Stellarium is going to N3. And here again, if it's not directly on it by your camera view, you can always come in here and say, click on the object, current object, and hit sync, and it will move the bullet to that point. All right, so let's minimize that. And that's a good thing because it didn't shut it down like it had been doing with the two previous newer versions. So gentlemen and ladies, that's all I got.